Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we're discussing the season premiere of Season 3, Heartthrob. This episode originally aired September 24th, 2001, attracting 5.01 million viewers. Okay, so we're going to start with movies because we missed a lot over the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me a second to catch my... Okay. Here's what came out this summer that we're not going to get a chance to talk about in any large amount. Okay, in June we had Swordfish, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Fast and the Furious. That was just June.
No, understandable, but I have some words.
Oh, go ahead, say what you need to say.
Well, firstly, with the Tomb Raider movie, I'm guessing the live action one with Angelina Jolie, I believe it was.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Just case of that's where it got its start, and oh man, the introduction of that, and everyone kind of being like, "Oh, the Tomb Raider movie and the whatnot," and everyone who was a fan of all the Tomb Raider games was just kind of looking at it like, all these newbies.
It also wasn't a very good movie. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, just kind of the typical action-y sort of flick.
It wasn't great. We also had The Fast and the Furious, which, at the time was a big movie and would spawn a massive franchise.
Indubitably, in which I know nothing about aside from the ridiculously huge thing that happened near the end of it.
They're like I've seen some of them and they're fine. Okay, so in July we had AI artificial intelligence, which I don't expect you to remember because
I somewhat do, but I think it's mostly the case of that one particular scene of, "Why'd you kill that man?" "I did not kill him!" It smashed the table. It's like, ooh. Problems.
Cats and Dogs, which was that was like a
It
family
was
spy
that.
comedy movie. Yeah,
It was that.
yeah. Legally Blonde,
Mm.
Jurassic Park 3,
Mm. Oh, yes.
Planet of the Apes, the 2001 remake by oh what's his nuts, Tim Burton. It's a
Mm.
terrible film. Don't watch it. Rush Hour 2,
Mm.
American Pie 2,
Nah.
a movie that I will not go. I'll mention it, but I won't review it because I fucking despise the person who made it. Jeepers Creepers.
Oh. No, I may have it confused, but go on.
Uh, I'll. Well, maybe when what's his nuts dies, I'll actually review it because I don't want to publicize him any more than Victor Salva's a piece of
Okay.
shit.
Hmm.
And The Musketeer. Those all came
Yeah.
out in the summer, which that's a pretty freaking good summer.
Yeah, pretty much completely hitting all the dots of my memory of those particular years.
Yes, and the number one movie in America this week was a movie called Hardball, which I wouldn't expect you to remember because it's not very memorable.
Like, the only one thing that's coming to mind is either that football movie or a baseball movie, but even then it's just like vague.
I believe it's a baseball movie, but it's not like. Apparently, it was quite good, but it's not something that anybody remembers now.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now for video games. Okay, again, there were a few biggins. So, we left off near the end of May in the previous episode. So, May 30th, we had this little game that came out on Windows called Bejeweled.
Oh no. Oh god.
And
Like,
that's.
I'm sure it's not the first, but it's just the case of it was one of the biggins and would come into the particular thing when mobile gaming started up and just ugh.
Oh, this was kind of the start of mobile gaming, except you actually had to download it onto Windows. But it's that
Mm.
kind of idea of make it super simple, make it like anybody can pick up and play and get addicted to it. Yeah, the roots of mobile gaming start here.
Oh boy.
Oh, but Dave, we got a bunch of big Game Boy Advance games coming up.
Oh
So
yeah.
June 8th on the Game Boy Advance, Castlevania: Circle of the Moon.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat familiar with the title, but not sure which one it is.
Circle of the Moon. Let me just double check here. Circle of the Moon. Nathan Graves. Yeah. I'm not. I don't entirely remember this one. I've never been a huge Castlevania fan, but I know the
And in
box.
my case, I've played one or two of them, kind of bouncing in and out of the series, but I've heard at least about all of them in some kind of respect.
I just messaged you the box art.
Oh, here we
Like, I
go.
know the box art.
Oh, okay. I think it's the case that this one was re-released with a bunch of other ones on the Switch.
It was, yes.
I see.
These are all Game Boy Advance games, and they all come out on June 11th. Because this was a
Oh, there
fucking
you go.
massive day, apparently. Choo
Well, there
Choo.
you go. A whole bunch of competition.
Oh my god. Choo Choo Rocket.
Hmm.
Which I don't think that was. It was like a puzzle game made by Sonic Team. Um, uh,
Mm.
Game Boy Advance port of Earthworm Jim.
Hmm.
Earthworm Jim is great. Um, we're still on June 11th. Nintendo decided, oh, we haven't released a banger in a little while. Let's put out F-Zero Maximum Velocity on the Game Boy Advance.
Ooh. Oh gosh. All the F-Zero fans very much happy, I'm sure,
All
before
all
the
five of them.
super big surprise.
Like, I love F-Zero, but let's be honest, it doesn't have much of a fan base, really. Uh,
Yeah. They've been vocal over the last while, but yeah,
I,
it's
look,
not that
if a
big.
new F-Zero game came out, I would totally buy it and I would love it, but I just don't expect it. We're still on June 11th. Konami Crazy Racers, which is like them trying to do like a Mario Kart kind of thing.
Oh my God, I remember that scene from a Nintendo Power or something like that, and being like, "This is a thing. This is not my thing."
Still on June 11th, still on the Game Boy Advance, Rayman Advance.
Oh, okay.
And finally, the last game that came out on June 11th on the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo was like, fuck it, we haven't released a major game since like this morning. Super Mario Advance.
Because of course.
Yeah, which was a port of Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yes, yes.
Okay, moving on into June. I'm going to have to skip a few things, otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
So, June 18th on the PS2, Twisted Metal Black.
Eh.
Oh, I love Twisted Metal. June 21st, Baldur's Gate 2, Throne of Bahal. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Deal with it. That was on Windows, obviously. On the Dreamcast on June 23rd, we got Sonic Adventure 2.
Ah.
June 29th on the PlayStation 1, we got Final Fantasy Chronicles.
Ah, yes.
July 10th on the PS2, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Oh my god.
Eh.
Oh, but it's great. July 14th on Windows, we got Mega Man Legends. Which
There we
I
go.
didn't know that game got ported to Windows, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising.
July 19th. Now, this was a Japan release, but I'm still going to mention it. On the PS2, Final Fantasy X.
Ooh, the start of that one.
Yes. July 23rd on Windows, we get Max Payne, which is a great game. July 29th on the Game Boy Color. I'm surprised this went to Game Boy Color. We got the North American release of Pokemon Crystal.
Ah, yeah.
I'm surprised that didn't go to Game Boy Advance.
Nah, I think it was a case of just with the particular stuff that they had within Gen 2, they wanted to at least finish with the work, and all the transferring stuff that they were trying to do with the Game Boy Advance was just too much of a complication for it. So they figured just keep the second copy to Game Boy Color and then have all the newer games go to Game Boy Advance when they got it all finished.
Alrighty, so August 1st on the Game Boy Advance, Golden Sun.
Ah,
I've always wanted to play the Golden Sun games, and I've never got a chance to. Because it's not normally my style of game, but that game just looks good. August
indeed.
August 7th on.
Yeah, and I think like the only chance that you still have is getting one of the older Wii systems and using it on the Wii store before it closes at the end of next year.
Or finding an actual copy of Golden Sun.
Which is possible, but it probably might set you back with the place that we have in town.
Or even, like, I think it's hard to find anyway. August
Mhm.
7th on the. Wikipedia says it's on Game Boy Advance, but I know that's a lie. It's Game Boy Color. WWF Betrayal, which is not what you're expecting. It is not a wrestling game. It is a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Makes sense. If they couldn't stick with the typical wrestling style, that would be the closest style to go with next.
Yeah, August 19th on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, Madden NFL 2002.
Hmm.
August 27th on the Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Hmm.
Now we're getting into the final couple of games before what's like the current week. September 6th on the Dreamcast, we got Shenmue 2.
Of course.
September 10th on the Game Boy Advance, Advance Wars.
Oh, yes.
September 11th, oh, that was a not the best day to release a game. On the Game Boy Color, we got the port of The World Is Not Enough.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was an ominous release. And finally, what were we playing the week that this episode came out? Well, on the day this episode came out, there was a... Fuck, everybody wanted to release a game this day.
Jeez.
September 24th. On the PlayStation 2, we got Monster Rancher 3.
Oh, okay.
On the Dreamcast, we got Phantasy Star Online version 2.
Yeah.
On the PS2, we got this little game that I'm sure nobody's ever heard of called Silent Hill 2.
Ah, yes.
On the PS2,
Yes, that one. That's the biggie.
yes, it is. On the PS2, on the same day, we also got a remake of Spy Hunter.
Oh. Hmm.
On the 25th, we got X-Men Reign of Apocalypse on the Game Boy Advance, which I remember not being very good.
Hmm.
And when does the next episode air? October 1st. Okay, so that is it for... Oh, no, I tell a lie. There's one more. September 30th. So 6 days after this episode, a little game came out on PS2. I can't believe this game came out in 2001. To me, it was like, oh, this game was like '04. You remember Ico?
Yes, I do.
Yes, that came out then.
Yeah, that's not too surprising. It was kind of cases that I never really got into it until around the PS3 or so era.
Yeah, I thought that was a
But there was
later release
always
for PS2.
There was always cases of going to the store and seeing that live action cover box cover staring me in the face being like Ico and being like, yeah, I've seen gameplay of you, you're not super interesting.
Alrighty. And we're not going to go over music from the entire summer because, fuck it, I've talked enough right now.
Yeah,
So-
it's been a time.
Number one song in America on the week of this episode. Any idea what it would be?
Oof. Again with this particular week. Just to sort of confirm within my own mind with the end of season 2, the one top song from that week has finally, hopefully, been dethroned.
It's been dethroned, like it's been knocked off, and a few other songs have come and gone since then.
Oh, okay. Thinking with then around that time. Damn, nothing's kind of coming to mind about those years.
It is a song called Fallen by Alicia Keys.
No, that makes sense. It sounds familiar, but it's nothing that I can immediately recall.
Oh,
Supposedly, thank God.
Dave, we're getting close to a song at the end of the year, and it makes me so happy because, oh, it's going to be terrible and amazing at the same time. Anyway. Moving...
Yeah, I don't think it's that one particular one that I horribly despise for obvious reasons, because it would be later on, sometime in the 2005 to 6 years, I believe. I'm not too sure which one you're speaking of, but let's wait to find out.
Anyway.
Mm.
Let us move on to the episode Heartthrob. Alrighty, so like we said, this episode originally aired September 24th, 2001. Actually started airing prior to the new season of Buffy, which wouldn't air until... I believe that one didn't start until October 2nd.
Okay.
They were also on different networks at this time, so,
Yeah, that also makes sense.
Angel still is on the WB, and Buffy had moved to UPN for season 6 and 7. Because for some reason, the WB wouldn't let Buffy go as far as they would Angel, because it was technically an earlier time slot, but whatever. Anyway. Okay. So, Wesley, Cordelia, and Gunn return from defeating a group of demon worshippers. They discuss their full and unusual lives and why people would be obsessed with demons enough to worship them in the first place. The conversation eventually turns to the recent addition at the Hyperion Hotel, Winifred Fred Burkle, who has spent the last 3 months in her room, except when she enters the lobby for a few seconds before scurrying back. Since returning from Pylea, Cordelia notes how much she misses Pylea, and Wesley points out that she was there for a week and became a queen. While Fred spent 5 years there either as a slave who nearly got her head cut off, or as a fugitive hiding in a cave alone. Another cause for...
Bit of a difference.
Yes, just slightly. Another cause for concern is Angel, who has spent the summer at a monastery in Sri Lanka. To help him cope with the death of Buffy, Gunn points out that he suggested that Angel should get drunk and go to Vegas to get over Buffy. Which, I mean, fair. But Wesley responds that all Angel needs is peace and quiet.
And I can't specifically remember if it's a case of, can vampires or whatnot get drunk in that sort of case, or am I getting that confused with other things?
See, they're never entirely consistent with that. Because it shows, if you look at, some of the flashbacks, it shows them clearly being drunk, even though they're vampires. But other times they'll say that it doesn't affect them. So, I guess you could argue that they're just pretending to be drunk to make people less, less worried if they see them walking down the street or whatever, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure, though, in the lore, they are not meant to be affected by alcohol. Meanwhile, Angel fights monks, who turned out to be Shorehood demons. He kills them all and leaves the scene of the battle, telling the pilgrims outside that he should have gone to Vegas.
Yeah. Don't you just hate it when you go on vacation and it's essentially just like work?
Yeah. Excuse me. Angel returns to Los Angeles and is eagerly greeted by his friends. He gives Cordelia a necklace. Wesley gets a 16th century dagger. And Gunn a shrunken head. All three gifts are greatly appreciated. Angel asks after Fred, and despite Cordelia's attempt to cover, Angel guesses that she hasn't left her room. He decides to go and talk to her. Upon hearing a knock at the door, Fred tries to get rid of whoever is on the other side until she hears it's Angel. She then rushes joyfully to the door to see him. Invited into Fred's room, Angel finds the walls covered in writing, similar to her cave in Pylea. She has both arcane mathematical formulas and different phrases. Upon seeing a section with the words listen, 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 Angel asks what she's listening for, and Fred responds, the click in my head when everything seems to make sense. Angel invites her downstairs, but a scream from Cordelia shatters her sense of security. Cordelia's visions, which have grown increasingly painful over the last months, send the guys to intercept a party crashed by vampires. They find the vampires with 2 kidnapped humans in the car. Angel stakes the female vampire before she turns to dust. The vampire asks, "And jealous?" Angel stares at the locket he ripped off her neck and realizes her to be Elizabeth. Meanwhile, Cordelia recovers from her vision with the help of her ghost Dennis, a relaxing bath, and some powerful painkillers. With flashback to 1767 in France, Darla and Angela spend time with Elizabeth and James. Angelus is annoyed with the loving relationship between the other couple. James steals a locket from a store window for Elizabeth, the same locket that she was wearing at her staking. And Giles is also concerned with escaping the vampire hunter Daniel Holtz, who I'm sure won't be important later on in this season because he's clearly going to be dead because this is from the 1700s.
Yes. But then, of course, this is also Angel, so.
Yes. Who's been tracking him since Angelus killed the man's entire family. Well, that would probably piss somebody off.
Yeah.
And we come back to the present, where James learns about Elizabeth's death and that Angel is responsible. He charges into the office of a special demon doctor, demanding special treatment. The demon, a skin-molting creature named Dr. Gregson, questioned James's ability to accept the price. James says that he has already paid the price. At Caritas, Lauren sings while Wesley and Gunn grill Merle for information. Merle reveals James visited Dr. Grayson earlier. At the Hyperion Hotel, Cordelia tries to get Angel to talk about losing Buffy. She tells him that it wasn't his fault, but he misunderstands and thinks that she is telling him that it wasn't his fault that he killed Elizabeth. Angel doesn't want to talk about Buffy. Then James emerges from the basement and attacks Angel, demanding to know why he took Elizabeth from him. Fred chooses that moment to emerge, and Angel yells at her to stay in her room. She quickly runs back. Angel and James continue to fight, and Cordelia manages to hit James hard with a fire extinguisher, then tosses Angel a stake. Angel manages to stake James, but it has no effect. Then Angel throws James into the sun, but he is also unharmed. Angel and Cordelia run for the sewers, and Angel throws James off temporarily with the scent of his blood, but James eventually finds them in a subway train. A call from Wesley reveals James has been made invincible by Dr. Grayson by having his heart removed, but it is not permanent and he will die when it wears off, though that part of the call is unclear as reception is poor in the sewers. As they fight inside the subway train, James questions Angel's knowledge of true love. Angel tells him that he had one true love but recently lost her. He assures James that he understands what it is like to lose someone he loves. James disputes that this was true love, as he thinks that if Angel loved and lost, then he would not want to go on either. Soon the effects of the surgery wear off, and James crumbles into dust. Angel allows James' comments about not being able to exist after losing the person he loved to upset him, but Cordelia convinces him that he honors Buffy by going on, and that is what she would want. At a cantina in... okay, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, but I'm probably going to butcher it. Puerto Cabenes, Nicaragua. A man presents contact information for a shaman to Darla, who quickly sinks her teeth into him. As he falls to the floor, Darla turns to leave the bar, revealing that she is in an advanced state of pregnant. Dun dun dun. So, Dave, what did you think of this episode?
With all the particular stuff that happened, it was interesting to have everything start up with how it did. Still them going on with everything. And an interesting packed sort of episode to at least get the season kind of rolling, diving a little bit into Angel's past, characters from them affecting things with that, and the idea that, yeah, a vampire could make himself invincible if he takes out his heart for, maybe 6 hours or so. They didn't go super specific with it.
Yes. Yeah. So what do you think of the whole thing with Darla? I mean, she's rather pregnant at the moment.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, from the last time that I believe we saw her after her being torched.
Yes.
All the particular things I can't quite explain of how she's even in this state.
Well, Dave, I'm going to tell you it has something to do with a prophecy.
If it's not one thing, it's always a prophecy.
There's a lot of prophecies on this show. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's Angel.
Yes, it is. Alrighty. So, time for some international titles, and we actually have a bunch for this episode.
Ooh?
Yes. So, in Czech, it translates as pounding heart.
Badooch.
In Finnish, it translates as great love.
Yeah.
In French, without heart.
Yeah.
In German as Heartthrob.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Hungarian as Eternal Love.
Yeah.
In Italian as A Lost Heart.
Ooh, the double whammy.
In Brazilian,
Double whammy. He lost his love, and then he took out his heart to face off against Angel.
exactly. In Brazilian Portuguese, it translates as Love of My Life.
Yeah.
In Russian, Heartbeat.
Yeah.
In Latin American Spanish, it translates as Heartbeats, which is clever.
Yeah.
And in Spain Spanish, it translates as Love.
Yeah.
None of them are really amazing, but I think they're all, like, they kind of get the point across.
Pretty much fits completely much with the episode, but as it sits, it's English and German's heartthrob just kind of completely hits it on the nail of everything from there. When once you know the whole story, it's like, I see what you did there.
Yes. Alrighty. So, if you have nothing else to add about this episode, next week we'll be discussing an episode called That Vision Thing. Okay. So Angel's gonna have to team up with the dark side to stop a psychic hacker from killing Cordelia with her own violent visions that are leaving her burned, scaly, and frightened for her life.
Yeah, that seems somewhat understandable, but also kind of a case of
Oh, and during this, Angel's gonna have to free someone from a hell dimension.
Well, if it's not one place.
Yep. So it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. Oh, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but in this episode, in the opening credits, did you notice we have a new cast member?
Yes, with Fred being part of the cast now.
Yes. Yeah, she is now officially part of the cast, and I'm gonna warn you, Dave, she's gonna have a hell of a run on the show.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I suppose it's the question of which way it's gonna go.
Okay, I'm gonna warn you when we get to a certain episode that you might want to have some tissues ready. That's all I'm gonna say. But until next time, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.